guys, thanks so much for watching on 360 on FIT.live. I really appreciate it. My name is Crystal Gray and I am the yoga expert for FIT.live. I've got my two beautiful yoga students with me today. Is it okay if you guys are filmed?
Yes.
Okay, and it's shared on social media, that's fine?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what we're gonna do is three things. We're gonna move through three parts of our practice today. The first part, we're gonna get the body warmed up with some sun salutations, a little bit of flowing. Then we're gonna move into some core work to really strengthen the abs for our final sequence, or our final segment, which will be crow pose, an arm balance. So we really wanna make sure that we get that internal fire and those abs nice and activated before we get to that pose. All right, so let's go ahead and start to warm up the body with our sun salutations. All right, ladies, so go ahead and step up about 1 or 2 feet from the top of your mat, bringing your big toes together to touch if possible. Grounding down into all 4 corners of the feet. Bring your hips into neutral, so bring your pelvis to neutral so your booty's not sticking out, your tailbone's not tucking under. All right, and the arms can be by the sides. Start to lengthen the spine from reaching the back of the crown up towards the sky. And breathing here in and out through the nose. Getting connected to the breath. And draw the lower belly slightly in and up, bringing the breath up, letting the ribs and chest expand in every direction. Making sure that you breathe throughout your entire practice. If there's ever a point where you feel like you can't breathe, make sure you back out of the pose or take a break. So grounding down, inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Bend your knees slightly, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up to monkey pose, flat back, bend your knees, plant your hands. Exhale, step back to plank, push forward with the toes and lower down with or without the knees. Okay, uncurl the toes, and then inhale, bring your chest forward and up, curl the toes under, exhale, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Focusing on your down dog, wrapping the shoulders away from each other and rolling the forearms in to keep the knuckles nice and heavy. When you roll those shoulders away from each other, it's gonna have a lot of space allowance for your neck, okay? So it'll feel a lot better than really rolling the shoulders in, okay? So breathing here. Go ahead and just pedal the feet a little bit. Push one heel down and the other heel down, warming up the backs of the legs. Beautiful. And then walk your feet in a couple inches, bring your big toes together to touch. Bend your knees and inhale, look forward towards the front of your mat. At the end of your exhale, walk or lightly float to the front of the mat. Bring your hands to your shins. Inhale, bring your heart forward, monkey pose. Exhale, fold over your legs. Squeeze the legs together, look out in front of you. Inhale, rise all the way up, bringing your pelvis into neutral. Exhale, hands to your heart. And breathe here. So let's do one more flow before we get into our abs. Inhale, reach your arms up and sink your hips back into chair Utkatasana. Make sure you can see your ankles. Exhale, fold forward, let the head hang loose. Beautiful. Inhale, come halfway up, reaching your heart forward. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank and lower down. Good. Okay, uncurl your toes and then inhale, pull the hands back so you can bring your chest forward and up, curl the toes under. Exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bring your big toes together to touch and then inhale, lift your left leg straight up and back. Good. Bend your knee, round your back, and exhale, bring your knee towards your nose, placing that foot in between the hands. You might need to grab it and bring it through. Okay, go ahead and lower your back knee. All right, good. And then let's make sure that we're, go ahead and come up first, and then let's make sure that our pelvis is in neutral. So puff up the low back, okay, so you're not dumping into the low back. Your right knee's right on top of the ankle, and just pushing your knee forward so it's on top of the ankle, pelvis neutral. You can bring your hands to your heart or reach your arms overhead and wrap the shoulders. Find a gazing point either straight ahead or you can gaze up to challenge your balance a little bit more. Feeling a nice stretch in that back quad and hip flexor. Beautiful. On your next exhale, go ahead and bring both hands down on the inside of that left foot. Walk the left foot over. Okay, and then you can start to either do some little pulses, like little push-ups, or you can bring your forearms actually to the mat. You're starting to open up that back leg, or the back leg as well as the front leg, maybe in the hamstring and the glute, making sure to keep the knee right on top of the ankle. You don't have to come all the way down. And Christine, you can actually walk your left foot over to the left. Yep, perfect. Very good. And then come back up onto your hands if you're not there. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee, and make your way back to downward facing dog. On your inhale, come forward with the heart, bringing your shoulders past the wrist. Exhale, lower down, all the way to the belly. Uncurl the toes. Inhale, pull the chest forward and up, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Awesome. Bring the big toes together to touch. Inhale, lift your right leg straight up and back. Exhale, round the back, bring your knee towards your nose, place the foot in between the hands, and bring your back knee down. Good. Okay, so start to rise up. And then lengthen the tailbone, so puff up the low back, and then push the hips forward so the front knee is right on top of the ankle. All right, and then hands can come to the heart or reach the arms up and wrap the shoulders. So your pelvis stays in neutral, and then lift your entire rib cage up, shoulders away from the ears if you lift them overhead. Finding your gazing point, breathing. If you start to get a little bit overheated, you could breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. If you're in a sunny place like Costa Rica, like we are today. Very good. On your next exhale, bring both hands down on the inside of your right foot and walk your right foot over to the right side of your mat. You might want to bring your back knee back a little bit more so you're a little deeper of a lunge. You can do pulses, or again, you can come down onto your forearms. If you have yoga blocks or something laying around, even books, you could put your forearms on something like that just to give yourself a little bit of a lift. And if you're pulsing, just pulse with the breath, however that makes sense to you. Very good. This is called lizard pose. You can also do lizard with the back knee lifted, but we're just doing it this way today. All right, and then if your back toes aren't curled under, go ahead and curl those under, lift your back knee, and make your way back to your downward facing dog, lifting your hips up and back. Let's move through one more vinyasa before we start to work on the core. So inhale, slowly come forward to plank. Exhale, lower down, uncurl the toes. Inhale, pull your chest forward and up. Very good. Curl the toes under. Exhale, engage the abs, hips up and back, downward facing dog. You take a couple cleansing breaths here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. So sometimes in our yoga practice, we start to kind of work things up, right, to the surface. So we want to let those things go. All right, now what you can do, we're going to come to seated. So you can either bring your knees down and swing your feet around, or you can jump to a squat, eventually jumping through, coming to seated. All right, and then what I'm going to do is actually fold my mat over one time. This just depends on your tailbone. My tailbone kind of sticks out a little bit, so I'm just going to add a little bit more padding. If you have a blanket or something laying around, you can do that as well. So let's start to bring the feet out in front of you. Okay, start to roll the shoulders back, lifting your chest. Now this already is engaging your abs, so if you want to stay here, that's totally fine. Or you could start to lift the feet up. You can even reach your arms forward. Just make sure you don't round. Lift the heart, squeeze the knees towards each other. Find a gazing point, smile a little bit, and breathe. Not that, I'm not asking that much. And breathe here. So really activating the core. Hold it. 10, 9, 8. Feel that heat. 7, 6, 5. Maybe straighten one leg just for fun. 4, 3, 2, whoa, 1. Release. And roll back. Lay on your back. All right, and roll back up. Okay, so now what I want you to do, just so that we're moving on to our final part here, crow pose. What I want you to do is come onto the hands and knees for a second so you can really feel all that heat we just built in the abs. You'll really be able to feel it in this pose. So we'll come into cat pose. You just come onto your hands and knees. And what I want you to do is round the back as much as you can and draw the navel towards the spine, as if there's a string attached from your belly button going all the way up to the sky. Okay, so round, round, round. Just take a few breaths here. Keep breathing. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. 2 more breaths. Round, round, round. Pull that belly button in. And release. Awesome. All right, so now if you guys can come to down dog, and then just walk your feet forward towards your hands, bringing your feet as wide as your mat, or almost as wide as your mat, coming into a squat. So you can start to come down. Now, if your knees are, you have issues with your knees, then you might just skip this pose and maybe just watch or sit there and breathe. Otherwise, we'll move into crow. So before we go there, what I'd like you to do is, if you can bring the heels down, do that. Okay, and we're going to start to bring the upper body down in between the legs. Okay, so we just want to start coming down, trying to bring the triceps as low down on the shins as possible. Okay, and really hook them back. You can place your hands down, just kind of pushing your shins back with your elbows. Not the elbows, the triceps rather. All right, so then to come into crow pose or bakasana, what you're gonna do is bring the feet just a little bit closer together. My heels are almost touching. Your knees point out, okay? So they're gonna point out off of the mat, and then what you're gonna do is actually lift your booty up. You'll have the same hands you had in down dog, so they're not out, they're not turning in, nothing like that. Pointer fingers are pointing forward, elbows point back a little bit, turn out. Okay, you're gonna lift your booty up, place your shin onto the tricep, not the knee, the shin, okay? Eventually maybe you'll go with the knee, but for now we'll just go with the shin. Get it up as high as you can, make sure you look forward. Eventually maybe one foot and the other will come up. Keep that rounding in the back, navel to spine. Do not jump into the pose because you will fall forward, okay? So go ahead and give it a shot. Coming to your squat, turning your knees out, lift your booty up, okay? And then the elbows bend, pointing out to the side. Good, yeah, Christine, you can lift your butt up a little bit more, even more. More, good. Your elbows might be a little bit too bent, but that might work for you. Good, and then all you'll do is just come forward a little bit. Maybe one foot will come off, maybe the other one, maybe neither will today, and that's okay. So once you get a little bit tired, you can just take a break, come back to your squat. Awesome, very good. Good. So just try it just a couple times, just 2 times. Making sure to look forward. Whenever you've had enough, you can just come back down to your squat. And then if your knees are okay with it, we'll come back to seated. If your knees sometimes give you issues, then you always want to come forward and then swing the feet around. Okay? Coming to an easy seated pose, we'll just end our practice by taking a few calming breaths here. So we'll do Visamavriti. Okay, so find your comfortable seat, pull the flesh away from the sitting bones. And what I'd like you to do is close your eyes, breathe in through the nose, and then let's exhale through the mouth. Exhale like you're blowing through a straw. One more just like that. And then just coming back to your breath, keeping your eyes closed. Inhale as far as you can go comfortably, exhale completely, letting the exhales get longer and longer to really start to relax you. It really helps to release anxiety and stress. So just a couple more breaths. And then ladies, you guys can just stay there breathing with your eyes closed. All right, now if you guys have a little bit more time, everybody watching, then feel free just to end with some forward folds or maybe even lay back onto your back for Shavasana. But I hope you really liked this short flow to get into crow pose or Bakasana. And I really appreciate you all tuning in and watching FIT.live and me, Crystal Gray. Thank you so much. Namaste.